Zeimet Show. Discovering you. Rewiring the brain. Rebuilding confidence. And harmonizing with nature. With over 4 decades of changing lives, your self-discovery archaeologist, get ready to be the best of you with your host, Beverly Zeimet.
Hello and welcome to the Beverly Zeimet Show, where being the best you has just gotten easier. My guest today is Joan Nwoso, and she's calling in from Toronto, Canada. Is that correct?
That is correct.
All right. I tell you, I'm getting a lot of people from up in your neck of the woods, girlfriend.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, it is. I'm just going to have to go up there and visit.
You should. The weather is nice, so you should come.
Yeah, well, as soon as we get out of this little mess that we're in, I'll tell you, I'm used to traveling because I spend 24/7 on the road, and it's like, oh, now I can't move like I'm used to moving, right? You know that. But I was close to your area a few months ago. I was up in that whole northeast corner of the U.S. and
Okay.
I was just checking out all the colors and stuff, and so I was up in the upper part of Vermont, and we were so close to the border that our Wi-Fi was jumping across back and forth, right? It's like,
Nice.
oh my gosh, right?
I'm almost in Canada, almost.
Well, I've been in Canada. I just haven't been in Canada on that side of the country. But I've been all over BC and in that neck of the woods. I love
Awesome.
it. I love it. I almost
Great.
moved up there. Almost. Right? Almost. So,
Yeah.
but I'm really looking forward to getting back into Canada again and
Cool.
and going into some of the other parts of Canada. So it'll be fun. It'll be fun. Yeah.
Yeah, sure
Well,
is.
tell our audience, Joan, what exactly is it that you do? Things that excite you, things that just like inspire you, right? I know you wrote a book. We'll talk about that a little bit later in the show, right? But what got you into the work that you're doing now?
Great. Thank you, Beverly. So, I'm a business and career transition coach. And what that means is I help people start or grow their businesses or to transition from one career to another. And you might wonder, why would I want to do that? So I worked in corporate world for about 20 years, and I felt very unfulfilled, very stuck. And I started to realize that a lot of people also felt the same way. People felt unsatisfied with their jobs. People were miserable. Mondays were like, oh my God, not another Monday. And people were constantly, you get to that age where you're now looking for more meaning in life. You're like, okay, there's got to be more to life than this. And you start
Right.
to search for that thing that, fulfills you and satisfies you and kind of scratches that itch. So I decided to become a coach, and that's what I do. So I help people to find that thing that they love. It's usually around your purpose, because I believe that everybody was created for a purpose. So I
Yeah.
help you find that purpose and build a life or a business or whatever it is around that, so that you feel fulfilled.
Oh,
So
that's beautiful.
that's what I do. Yes.
It's interesting. I have interviewed a lot of people here in the last couple of months, and when I asked that question, why did you choose to go from where you were to where you are, and it was they didn't feel fulfilled. And so many women have moved out of the corporate world into doing, coaching or holistic or natural things, maybe meditations, just in a whole different field removed from where they were in that corporate world. But it was the same thing. I didn't feel fulfilled, and I felt there was more to life than what I was getting. So when you're talking to your clients, are they telling you that same story?
Oh, yes. Yes, they are. And, even just to push it a little bit further. So, people are feeling stuck, they're feeling unfulfilled, unsatisfied, they're looking for more meaning. But I also hear people say, like, I want to be known for something. Like, I want to leave a legacy. I
Oh,
want to be
right.
remembered I don't want to be remembered for some corporate job. I want to do something that feels like I'm impacting the world, I'm giving back.
Right.
So that's also part of it. People get to the point where it's like, okay, so we've been chasing the money and trying to rise up in the ranks, but now how can we give back to the world? What can I do to impact lives? Who do I want to help? What am I willing to sacrifice for? Who's that person? How can I pay my own bit back to humanity?
Right.
So yes.
This little situation that the world is in right now, in that confined little area, right? But again, it's time to look inside in this little confined area of this vessel that we're in, right?
Absolutely.
And exactly what you just said is it comes from inside here, right? So when you can see what's going on in this world, how do I make the changes in here to make the changes out there? And it's how can I serve you? And
Yes.
it's people like you, myself, and others that we know that are in this field that are going to be in such a great demand. I really feel that we are going to be the supporters and the growth builders of what goes on once this containment is over, because people are going to walk out into this world in this vastness of everything again. That's not the same as what it was when they left it.
Absolutely.
Right. And I think we're going to find there's going to be a lot of struggle because they're not the same person coming into this as they are going out. And I think there's going to be a lot of loss. Is like, what do I do now? How do I fit in? So if you ever had that question of how do I fit in before, I think it's going to be stronger now.
Yeah.
And right, and people need people. So
absolutely.
what are you doing, Joan, to prepare for that in your arena where you are? What are you doing to maybe alter a little bit or shift your business to meet that need of serving others, to get them into fitting in, I guess, right?
Yeah. So just like you rightly said, when people step out, the world has changed. People have changed, and what was before is no longer necessarily relevant anymore. Like, things have really, really changed for good. And in the previous world, there was a lot of chaos, there was a lot of noise, and it drowned people's thoughts. Like, people, the mind is just going all day, every day. And even now with this pandemic, like, people are just constantly watching the news and binging on so much negativity. The recession hasn't really hit yet, but people are already crying about it. Everyone is living very fearful lives. So for people like you and I who are coaches, at the end of this, people are going to be looking to us for that guidance.
Right.
So what I'm doing now is also to go within to really, really make sure that my foundation, my core is really strengthened, and that I have enough material and content to help the people who are going to be lost, like you said.
Right.
Even right now, people are already lost. So I'm educating people on all my social media platforms and trying to reach out to as many people as I can to focus more on the positives and not just focus on the doom, the message of doom, because there's a lot of message of doom going out there.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are going to prey on that because when people are vulnerable and living very fearful lives, then the noise comes in and everyone's like, oh, do this. If you do this, you'll be fine. If you do this, do this. And then again, it's the noise and people are like confused. Oh, where do I go? Should I invest in this? Should I do that? Should I start a program? Should I write a book, start a course, start a new business, change careers? Like, people get into that state of commotion and confusion.
Right.
So it's how to get people to go within, and make sure that you're aligned to your true self, because your true self is never wrong. Drown out the noise on the outside and then act. Get clear and act.
Right. You just really hit the nail on the head when you said, find that true self, right? Because when you're in here and the true self can be an expression of the outer self, everything out here changes completely different. So if you're in chaos and conflict in your inner world, you're going to attract chaos and conflict in the outer world, right?
Absolutely.
And so we've had this adjustment time to say, hey, you know what? Where is my chaos, my inner chaos? Look around. Look at your house. Look at how your chaos is there. Is there dirty dishes in the sink? Do we have dirty clothes laying on the floor? Is the laundry piled up, right? Are the kids screaming and making you crazy, Oh my gosh, does the floor need vacuuming? All these things. This is out here. So when you can look at that and say, okay, what's in here that needs cleaning? Because I promise you, if you do look inside here and you start cleaning up the mess inside, the shifting that needs to take place. All the stuff out here will shift. It's just gonna be easier for you to go and stand there and do those dishes. Wash your dishes by hand for a change instead of sticking them in the dishwasher. Whoa! I tell you, it's it's meditating. It's mesmerizing. It's again. I mean, here you are. You're scrubbing this stuff off, right? And you're washing and you rinse it. It does a purification in your thoughts and in your minds, right? Yeah. You don't have to train yourself how to wash dishes. You don't have to train yourself how to wash your hands. You know, I mean, come on. It's silly little things, but really, it makes an impact. You know, technology's great, and we've really started to depend way more on it than what maybe we should, right? And thank God we've got internet, though. You know, that's a necessary thing. I'll tell you. You know, it's like, okay, so I'm stranded here. That's okay. We have high-speed internet. Yay! You know. But again, when you start looking at that inner world and to become that expression, so you know, we're coming up to the end. I really feel we're coming up to the end of this isolation part. You know, it's like now it's really time to focus on what am I going to do once I do go out there. Once they say, okay, everything's lifted, how am I going to respond differently? Because I will guarantee it's going to be different. It's going to be different, you know, and you need to really start to focus and straighten in here. You know, all the fear things, you know, you're listening to the news. Well, what do they have to talk about? There's no action going on out there in the world to share other than what, what they want you to hear, and that's all fear. You know, unfortunately, that's just what it is. But you need to move beyond your personal fears and your personal experiences to really say, who am I? Am I fear? No. What are my dreams? Now is my opportunity to really find what my passion is. You know, to go out there and start making the moves and just the habitual things, shall we say. You know, getting back into the swing of things at your job, if it's still there. But if it's not, what are you going to do? How are you going to suffice? How are you going to change? Now's your opportunity to really take these final days and make it different, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, so that's what this show is all about, to be able to bring people on the show like you, Joan, to let others know out there that there's light at the end of the tunnel. And it's time, as you mentioned, that legacy. What's the legacy that you want to leave? What's the impact on the world you want to have? What is the impact the world is making on you that you don't like, that you want to change? Right?
Yeah.
Right.
And another thing is, you know, like people like it's very easy to stay in the victim mode and be a victim. It's because of the pandemic. Oh, it's because of this. Oh, it's because of the prime minister. It's because of the president. And, you know, it's time for people to step away from that.
Yes.
You know, and if you strongly believe, I believe that everything is as it should be. Everything that's happened is supposed to happen.
Yeah.
So you just accept it and move forward.
Right.
But if you stay in the past, just take the good out of it and move forward. But, you know, if you stay stuck in the past and you're trying to analyze, why did this happen to me? Every bad thing happens to me. Oh, it's because of this. Oh, then you never really move forward.
No, you don't. You start blaming, you know, it's that blame game, right? It's everybody else's fault out there, right?
I'm a victim. It's not me, it's them.
And, you know, this is something I find really curious, and I often wondered, you know, it's like, well, they said, you know, so when somebody says, well, you know, they said, and I said, who's they? You want to stop somebody in their tracks. Who's they?
Who's they?
Well, you know, no, I don't know. Who are they? Right? You know, so we've become to rely on something or someone else out there. So listen to your conversations. Where do you pass the buck? Right? Well, you know what? The buck stops here.
It stops here.
Right? Right? And if you don't want your children to fall in the same path that you are, because you're following in the footsteps of your parents, your grandparents, your generation. It's all, some of this stuff is really stuck inside your DNA and your RNA. It's just part of that, right? And it's like, okay, well, what do I do to change that? You make the buck stop here. right?
Absolutely.
And I don't think universe is liking what we're talking about. All
Oh
of a
no,
sudden,
no.
I'm hearing something hit the window. I look over here, and it's like, wow, we have this windstorm come up. Whoa! It's like, okay, so well, that's
Yeah.
not a coincidence either. I think I take everything that happens around me as a message. I'm
Oh, yeah.
thinking that this is the power of the message, the power of the spoken word that we're blowing out here across the planet, right?
Mhm.
And it's
Yes.
like, yeah, we're going to make a difference. We are the power, right?
Yes, we are. Yeah.
Right?
We
Yeah,
are the co-creators. We create everything. You can create the life that you want.
right.
There's no some people are meant to succeed and others are not. We're all meant to succeed. You can have whatever it is you want, but you have to believe it and you
Yes.
have to be willing to take action. So it's easy to sit down and say, oh, I have this 1 billion ideas, or you have an idea and it's like, oh, I don't have the money, or I'm too old, or I don't have the skills. Like we can come up with a billion reasons why we
Right.
shouldn't do something. So it's about getting clear with what it is your dreams are, identifying what your goals are, and then ultimately you have to take action.
Yeah.
And stop focusing too much on the how, just focus on the what. What is it that you want to do? What do you really want to do?
Right. Yeah, when you
Focus
get
on that
clear,
and
yeah,
then
you get
yeah,
clear on that what you want.
yeah.
The how will show up. You
It
just
will
have to
show
pay
up.
attention, and because universe will make that connection
Yeah.
for you,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And again, believe.
Yes.
What the mind can conceive and believe it can achieve. Now I said the mind.
Absolutely.
I didn't say the brain.
The
There's a
thinking
difference
brain.
between the brain and the mind. It's the brain that gets you in trouble. you know, so it's like mind over matter, right? If you don't mind, it don't matter. Mind is your thoughts and your creations.
Mhm.
So whatever it is that you're thinking, and that's your focus, then that becomes your focus, and it becomes your belief, and it becomes your destiny.
Mhm.
If you don't like the way your destiny is going, what do you have to do? You have to change your
Change. Yeah,
thoughts,
that's it.
right? That changes your focus, which changes your outcome, right?
Absolutely.
And so pay attention. You guys have heard enough people on these shows now. There's a lot of repetition, and people are coming from all over the planet, but they're all saying the same thing. We're just going a little bit of different path, right? But what it boils down to again is what? It all starts with you.
It's from it's here.
Yeah.
And you know, because you feel it.
Right.
You know when you're doing the right thing. You know.
Yep. Yep. You just know, and again, pay attention to that. It doesn't
Yes.
matter what other people think of you. It matters what you think of you.
What you think of you, yeah.
And if you think everybody's out there pointing the finger and judging you and thinking all this stuff and everything, you know what? They're having the identical same thoughts.
True.
So quit wasting your time on that. Focus on what you want. And again, you attract. Correct me if you have found this to be different. When you begin changing and your thoughts and you start living your dreams and you're putting it out there and again, it's that action, right? Knowledge without action is worthless, but knowledge with action is priceless.
Yeah.
Right? And so if you don't act, where do you go? You're on that hamster wheel, right? You're in your past. Your now becomes your past, and your future begins to look like your past. So what do you want? Right? So what do you tell people when you start mentioning change and they have an issue with change?
People don't like change.
No.
Yes. But again, just like you said, if you focus on what it is that you want, then it doesn't really look like change anymore. Now you're just, as opposed to telling someone, oh, you need to change this or you need to change that. It's more about you need to move towards what it is that you want.
Right.
So just focus on what that is. That will mean change. But if you keep using the word change, then the resistance comes up.
Right.
So it's just what do you want to accomplish? What are the goals? What is the smallest thing that you can do to step you in that direction? Okay, so let's do that. And what's the next thing you can do? Let's do that. So it's easier because now, it's more positive than change. When people hear change, it's like, oh, you want me to change? I don't want to change. I'm a grown adult. I don't want to change. Nobody wants to change. So you just keep the focus because what you focus on
is what you get.
Exactly.
Yeah. You know, when it comes to change too, we put ourselves in these little boxes.
Hmm.
That little box is where you're sitting right now.
Hmm.
So, or you know, the world was put in those little boxes, you know, and so you have to ask yourself, how comfortable or uncomfortable are you
Hmm.
being in confinement? But you've
Hmm.
already confined yourself into that comfort zone.
Hmm.
And it's what? It's predictable. It's
Yes.
miserable, but it's a
Oh, very.
comfortable miserable. Why? Because it's
Because it's what you used
predictable.
to.
It's what I
Yes. Yeah.
know,
It's what you
right?
know. It's what
But
you've
I
been
don't.
told.
That's right. But what I don't know is out there.
Scary.
You know, but doesn't
Yeah.
have to be, right? You know, so you can make that destiny. You can make that out there predictable in your own mind by having
Hmm.
that vision of your dream of what your purpose is of where you're headed. And so
Absolutely.
again, like you said, it's not about saying, "Oh, I got to change this and I got to change that." No, why don't you begin by tweak a little here, tweak a little there,
Hmm.
go
Hmm.
back into what is the end result that you're looking for. You want to have a destiny.
Oh
What
yeah.
does that destiny look like? Get
Yeah.
it out of here and put it down on paper. You
Yeah.
know, it's
Absolutely.
been proven, right? You talk to anyone who's been successful, they're going to tell you, "Oh yeah, they had lists that they checked off. They had vision boards, you know. They stayed focused on what the outcome was going to be and didn't let anything get in the way."
Hmm.
That's a mindset
Yeah.
that
Absolutely.
that we need to create, and I think coming out of this confinement now is the mindset
Hmm.
is what we have to really encourage and start focusing on, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But you said something that's very important, and I get that a lot of times where people say to me, "Oh yeah, it sounds all great. Come up with a vision. Know
Right.
where you're going." I have no vision. I have no goals. I have no dreams. I have no desires. And this was a recurring. I was surprised because I thought, for me, when it was write down your vision, it was pretty because it
Right.
been in my head for years. But I see so many people who can't even connect to their older self, which knew exactly what it was they wanted, because
Right.
now life has happened. They've gotten busy. They've got families to take care of. They've got elderly parents they're looking after, and they don't even remember what passions they had, what drove them to do anything.
Right.
So it's
Right.
like, I, Joan, I don't know what. I have no passion. I have no desire. What's my vision? I have no vision.
I
And
know,
so
and
that
that's
led me to create.
sad.
And very sad, very painful. But that's one of the first things I do with my coaching. Like, we really have to get back to that person who knows exactly what it is that they want. Everyone
Right.
should know where they're going in life. Like you said, there has to be an end goal. You can't just exist every day. You can't just wake up and be like, okay, another day, and then go to bed. There
Right.
has to be, an end goal. There has to be somewhere that you're walking towards. So I work with
Right.
my clients to define what that goal is, what that purpose is. Again, going back to your true calling, your true self. What do you want to accomplish in this life?
So
And we
what is
get very
what
clear.
what is the first thing that you ask a client, you know, when they tell you that I don't know what I want.
Hmm.
I have no clue what that vision would look like. You
Yeah,
know, I'm you
yeah.
know, can I even
So,
do it, right? So, you know, yeah.
yeah. So I do. I have a workbook which I can share. It's a
Okay.
free. It's a free workbook. It's a guide that helps you discover what that purpose is. And one of the first things I go back to, just like I said, we go back in time. So when you were a little girl, when you were younger, what were the things that gave you a lot of joy? What did you enjoy doing?
Uh-huh.
Where were you your freest, where you could just spend hours, days, and not even feel tired and forget that you haven't
Right?
eaten or whatever, and we start from there. And if you're drawing a blank, or you're like, I used to like to play chess or tennis, or okay, so we're going to work. What were the things in your previous jobs that you really enjoyed doing? Where were you your most creative self? Where did you go into work? And then it's like, also, what do people gravitate to you for? Like, if you have 100 friends that call you up every day, what is the common theme with all the friends? And you often have one thing that people usually call you for. If it's, oh, can you help me review a document, or I'm having relationship issues, or whatever it is, there's
Right.
always signs, telltale signs from your friends, from your previous life where you were younger, and from your previous job. So the workbook will guide you through those, and at the end of it, it'll be clear. It'll become clear to you, like, oh my God, yeah, this is what I
Right.
love to do. This is what I could do all day, every day. This is how I like to help people.
So if
Um,
someone wants that workbook, how do they get that?
I will share the link with you.
Okay.
You can post it so everyone gets it
we
for
can
free.
definitely post it. Yeah. So
Okay, that would be
comment
great.
below.
Yeah.
You're watching this show. Comment below and say, "I want that workbook. I want that workbook." Right?
Yes.
Because we don't know if you don't ask. Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
And
yeah.
that's the starting point, you know. So to be able to live the life of your dreams and to really, really get everything that we're talking about today,
Mm-hmm.
you have to get clear. You have to get clear on what you want, not what anyone else wants or what they want for you. It has to be what you want
Right.
coming from within you.
Right, and I think sometimes we get really busy being busy and we forget about ourselves, right?
Mm-hmm.
And especially as women, it's like, we want to serve others. We want to take care. We want to be the caretaker.
Mm-hmm.
It's like we put ourselves on the back burner. We could take care of our husbands. We take care of our kids. We take care of
Yes.
our parents. We take care of. And it's all of a sudden it's like you wake up one morning and it's like, well, what about me?
Yes.
What about me? And you have to really start looking at how you take care of yourself is how you take care of
Care of
everyone
others.
else.
That's very true. Yeah.
Right? So it all begins with self. That's why it's called self.
Yeah.
Right? Oh, what a concept, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and sometimes when you start to really look at who you are and what you're doing, it doesn't look good, doesn't feel good.
Yeah.
But you start focusing on that. You start talking your thoughts out loud and listening to what those crazy thoughts are. You're gonna start laughing at yourself, and you're gonna say, "Oh my gosh, this is freaking crazy! Why didn't somebody tell me this
Tell
before?
me. Yeah. Yeah.
I thought you were my friend. Why didn't you tell me I was going crazy here? Why didn't you tell me to quit doing that stuff?" And you know what they're gonna say? Well, I did, and you didn't listen.
You didn't listen.
Well, I
Yeah.
tried to, but then you got in an argument. It's like, oh yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So yeah, listen to yourself. Don't listen to your thoughts unless you're speaking them out loud,
Mm.
right? Because that thinking thought is as far removed
Mm-hmm.
on the other side of the planet
Mm-hmm.
when you
Yep.
hear it coming out of your mouth.
Like,
It's like, oh my gosh. If somebody
Why
else
would I
was
even
telling
think
me
that?
their
Yeah.
thoughts and they were saying this, I'd slap them silly,
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Do you ever feel like doing that sometimes with your client when they start in on this story, right? You're thinking, are you listening to yourself?
Mhm.
I've mentioned that to some people, and it's like, I hope you're really listening to what you're saying here, and most of them, as they get going in the conversation, are, I am, and I can't believe I'm actually saying this.
Mm.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
it's a good thing you are,
Mhm.
because it's helping you to see a different view of the real you and where those conflicts come, because your thoughts are what's going to create that conflict. When you verbalize it,
Mhm.
it starts putting that conflict in a different perspective. Have you found that to be true with
Oh, yeah.
yourself and with your clients?
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. It's so my book, I don't know if I can just
Yeah,
jump in and talk a little bit
I
about.
was just gonna suggest that she starts talking. I can't wait to see what she says, because I was gonna bring your book up. Yes.
Because, and that's what really inspired me to really write my book. Because prior to a couple of years ago, I had all these conversations in my head, and all the stories I had told myself about who I was and wasn't really true.
Mm-hmm.
And then I went through this journey of self-discovery and really, really connecting to my true self and knowing who I really am and not just what I thought I was. So that inspired me to write the book. And the book is called I Rise. And, just like it says, it's just rising above everything that's happened to you,
Mm-hmm.
rising above everything that's going on around you. So it talks a bit about, all the adversities, because it's so easy to be stuck in there and say, oh, because I went through a divorce, I'm never going to find love again. Not true. Or because I was fired at a job, it means I'm not good at any other job. No, not
Right.
true. Or, I had a dysfunctional home. I grew up in an abusive family, so I'm never going to have a family, and no one's ever going to love me because my parents didn't love me. I'm not true. Or, oh, I'm not beautiful enough. I'm not slim enough. I'm not like these stories that we keep telling ourselves that has nothing to do with who we really are.
Right.
It's so it's demotivating, but it's also very destructive.
Right.
So it's how do you rise up against everything that's happened to you? How do you move forward regardless of the past? How do you forgive yourself, forgive others, forgive life, and just accept what has happened? Because everything is as it should be. Everything that happened was meant to happen. Now it's time to look forward and embrace your life in
So
the future.
take the wisdom of
Yes.
the experiences that you had. Take
Mm-hmm.
the wisdom out of it.
Yes.
And that's what's going to drive you into where your passions lie and into that creating the legacy that you
Mm-hmm.
want to leave behind, right? It's going to impact your family lineage lengthwise, backwards,
Yes.
forwards,
Mm-hmm.
because it does shift in that whole personality trait, those different things that are stuck in that DNA. And that's what changes.
Yes.
And you have the power to change it if you choose to start taking action in a different direction. Get out of your
Absolutely.
comfort zone. So
Get
look at
out.
this. Look at this moving out of confinement here, right? Look at this moving out of confinement as moving out of your comfort zone and into the world of. So kind of take yourself back. Just say, okay, I am now giving birth to myself, right? This is life starting new. What does a child do? What does a baby do? They learn how to walk with baby steps. They might be a little shaky, but they learn. They crawl before they walk, and then
Mm-hmm.
they run. Everything they touch, everything they see, their curiosity,
Mm-hmm.
right? Everything is new, 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 new. And that builds those neurotransmitters up here, right? You
Mm-hmm.
have this opportunity right in front of you now that when you go out there into this world, in this vast world, to be able to start that whole mission all over. So become that little baby again
Mm-hmm.
and really start investigating everything that you took for granted before,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And see
Absolutely.
how you change. See how everyone changes around you. That's how
Mm-hmm.
you're going to impact being that best you every day. And that's the whole theme of this show is
Mm-hmm.
what can I do to be a better me?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's part of finding that inner you, right?
Yeah.
Right? So
That is
Joan, this has been great. I mean, the information that you're sharing in your book, I Rise, right? That is overcoming challenges, overcoming any adversity, right? So don't look at it as an excuse to not do anything. Look at it as the perfect
Yep.
opportunity to make a difference in your life first and then in the lives of others in the world, right?
Absolutely. Yes.
Right? Yeah,
Absolutely.
I love the name of your book. If they want to get a hold of you, can you
So
share what your website is?
yeah, so my website is my name, so it's joannwosu.com. It's one word, JoannNwosu.com.
Okay. All right.
And I'm on all social media platforms as well, Joan Nwoso.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I love the cover of your book. I put a little
Thank you.
placard up there that shows it. It has your website and everything, right? It's
Nice.
a beautiful cover,
Thank
It's
you.
like, whoa, rise, It's got this little mountain thing, looks like you're rising up.
Yep, absolutely.
Right. And
Yes.
when you continue to rise, and that's kind of, with the scene here behind me into space, right?
Hmm.
It goes on forever and ever and ever
Yeah.
and ever.
Mm-hmm.
And so do you. So do your thoughts. So does your legacy. So does, look at where you come, your whole ancestral lineage, right? Where it started, as far
Mm-hmm.
back as you can discover, right? But more
Mm-hmm.
importantly, where is it going to go? Right? Where is it going to go? What are you going
Yeah.
to do differently today?
Mm-hmm.
Today, in the now,
Mm-hmm.
that's going to change everything that's been coming from behind you, because you're dragging your past with you. It gets pretty
Mm-hmm.
heavy,
It
right?
does.
It gets pretty heavy, and it doesn't serve a purpose. It's already been experienced. You try something new and
Let it
different,
go. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Right? So,
Yeah.
what a beautiful name for your book, I Rise, which
Thank you.
means we all rise,
We all rise.
right?
Yes.
We're all one.
Yes, we are.
Yep, we're
All
all
one.
one.
Yeah.
So, how do we be that expression of it?
Mm-hmm.
And we're all the whole world is in this same, what should we call it? Growth. How about that, right? We're all
I
in
like
the
that.
same growth.
Mm-hmm.
And how are we going to move our personal growth in this short-term isolation
Mm-hmm.
and go out there
Yes.
and share that growth with others?
Mm.
Start thinking about that. Right down below here. Comment to us. What are you going to do in this new growth and these new changes that you're going to take with you out there to become living an expression of it? Walking your talk instead of talking the talk, right?
Absolutely.
So Joan, when you're working with your clients, let's talk a little bit on your viewpoints. I want to hear what you have to say about walking the talk versus talking the talk.
So, so a great man once said, those who, people who don't do talk. So it's easy to talk. Talk is cheap. Like you can talk forever.
Oh
like,
yeah,
you just keep talking. Like talking is good. Like we're talking right now, but that's good. But you also have to walk the walk. You know, that's when you know that you really evolved. So now I'm not just saying I want to. Here is me throwing myself out there, actually jumping and getting it done.
Right, and
so
then it goes back to that action, doesn't it?
It does. It goes back to action.
Right.
You know, so there's a lot of people, motivational speakers. You know, some of them great, good as they are. You know, but they talk a lot, and people get. You know, you're like, oh, you go for their shows, and you're like, wow, I'm so inspired. You know, and then that's it.
Right.
You know, so who's following up with people? And you know, a lot of my clients, the area they struggle the most with is accountability. Like someone getting accountable, getting someone to hold you accountable. If you said you were going to do this, where is it? Have you done it? Why haven't you done it? What was in the way? What can you do? You know, was it too big a goal? Can we make it smaller? But being accountable, because it's hard to be accountable to yourself. Like, I'll do it tomorrow.
Yeah, because you can always make excuses.
I'll do it
right?
next week.
Yeah.
So that's the difference between going for a seminar where you're all wired and you're like, whoa, I can take over the world. And the next day is like, okay, we'll do that next year.
Right.
Then when you're working with a coach, so part of a coach's job is to make sure that you stay focused, you stay on track, and then they hold you accountable to whatever it is you said you were going to do. So it's not about, okay, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. You're talking the talk. Now we make sure that you walk the walk. Right. So getting you accountable, getting you moving forward and achieving your goals.
Yeah, that is such a key word, you know, and that's something I hear a lot too is having an accountability partner. You know, and you know, to have an accountability partner, it's better to have a stranger hold you accountable than it is, right? Than it is a partner or a family member. Or it's like, you said you were going to do this, and then you go off on them, right? Well, if it's your coach or if it's a total stranger, somebody that you're right, it's like, okay, you're right.
To do this.
So again, we live in a world of duality, right? So we're either making excuses. Or we're making money. Yeah. We're either making excuses or we're building a destiny. We're either making excuses or we're staying focused. Right? So you have to ask yourself, are you making excuses or are you making, right? No one else can do that for you except you.
Yeah.
You know, so really start paying attention and listening to the things that you say. Because when you listen, and that's what makes a coach a great coach, because they listen.
Oh, they listen.
You know? And sometimes they throw that stuff back in your face, and you're
I'm not buying that.
Say that. How many times have you been in a conversation, whether it was with a client or with a family member or somebody? I didn't say that, right? Oh, I'm going to record you next time, right? You say everybody should be running around with these little recorders. Can you repeat that again, right? I need to record this. Right? Yeah. Right? Because, again, it's holding the other person accountable. And if it's a partner, sometimes, you know, you sit in an open conversation, or even with your kids, right? Even with your kids, it's like, okay, so I want to write that down. Like, okay, you said you're going to do this by which day? All right, son, let's do this, right? And you write this down. It's like, okay, I have a copy and you have a copy. We both sign this, right? Yeah. And we put a date on there, right? here, you keep yours and I'll keep mine. This will remind you, right? You know, sometimes it takes that kind of drastic move to get the point really across.
Yeah.
Because otherwise we come back and we remember it differently, or because we justified things in our mind to, yeah, but you know, Mom, this happened and that happened, and it's like, that doesn't matter. Let's see, what did your little piece of paper say? And you signed. Look, is this your signature?
You signed.
Right? Whoa, I'll tell you, it puts a whole different perspective in that child's mind, but it also gives them good training.
Yes.
It really does. It gives them discipline and training and being accountable to what they say. So don't take what you say lightly. And that's something that we can all learn from. You know, when you say it, then do it. Again, it goes back to that action, doesn't it?
Yeah. Your word,
don't
your
start
word should
making
be your bond. Yeah. You say it, you do it.
Yeah. And it, you know, it's kind of sad we've kind of lost that over the years.
Oh, yes.
You know, where a handshake or somebody giving their word was all that was needed. Now it has to be documented.
Contracts and
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Get a lawyer.
Put it in a recording office, you know. Right? Oh my gosh. You know, what happened to the honesty and the truth? To be able to say, you know, where's your integrity?
Where's your integrity?
Where's your integrity?
Yes.
Right? And to be able to work from that integrity. And, you know, so when, you know, look around when you start working with people. Now, Joan and I have not had a conversation before this show, right? What I can tell you, what I've picked up from her, is she has this beam of integrity and truth. She walks her talk. She glows with it. Look at, you know, watch the body language, the expression of it. She's real. She's real people, right? She's not going to ask you to do something that she hasn't already done. And she has proof. It's in her book. It's in her book, right? So if you want to get that out there, write a book, you know. Get it out there. Anybody can write a book. I talked to a gal yesterday, and she tells me, you know, that she wrote a book. It just all of a sudden it hit her out of nowhere. I have to write a book. She sat down, and 5 hours later, she had it done.
No way!
Yeah,
Wow!
and you can write a book in a weekend. You know, and then she was editing, and it took 4 months to edit.
Okay.
But you know, again, it's not about making it perfect right from the get. No. You know, it's like getting it out, getting it down on paper, getting it. Make an action. Yes. Don't die with your story in you. And that again is another reason why I did this show, and the guests that I'm having on here, they have a story to tell. There's a message that needs to be delivered, right? And what better way to deliver it is to give a format that can deliver that.
That's amazing.
Right? And so, my gosh, it has really been an honor having you here. I would love to have you back on the show again.
I'd love to.
Come on, people, comment out there. What did you think about Joan? Didn't she have some great ideas? Isn't she a great coach? Yeah. Comment below. Say, yes, she is. Reach out to her. Get her book. We're going to have her website up here and everything where you can get the book. Oh, and
the
that
workbook. The workbook,
whoa.
yes.
And, you know, when you go to her website and you ask for the workbook, mention the show. Mention the show, and she might have something else special for you. We're not going to talk about that.
Okay.
You have to mention the show, and she'll figure out something for you, because it'll be an individual thing, right?
I'll do that.
So I'm going to throw your picture up here one more time with your book, with your website, www.joannwosu.com. Your book, take a picture of that book, don't forget it. And she's all about clarity and focus and fulfillment, and she is a transformational coach that's gonna get it done, right?
Yes.
Get it done. You know, so again, comment below, let us know what you liked about the show, what you didn't like about the show, and if you want to be on the show, we're going to have a link up there, you know, as well. So don't be afraid to step out and tell your story, right? So one more piece of super tidbit information that you can share with the audience today.
Okay, so if there's one thing I want to leave people with is everybody is afraid. The people who have succeeded did not step out because they weren't afraid. They stepped out in spite of the fear. So it doesn't matter what it is you're going through, whatever is happening on the media, there's fear everywhere. Don't be afraid to step out. Do it afraid, and you will achieve the
That's
greatness that you
that's
want.
awesome. Oh, I just got chills all over my body, right? So let that fear be your driving force to success, not
Absolutely.
your driving force to making more excuses, right?
Love it. Yes.
Right. Okay, well, thank you again so much, Joan, for
Thank
being here.
you.
And now it's time to say go out there and be that best you that you can be, because Joan and I are going to be the best we that we can be. See you guys on the next show.
Thanks, Beverly. Thanks, everyone.